A new bill being pushed by the Jamaican government is sparking concern among homeowners, renters, and small entrepreneurs across the island. The Jamaica Tourist Board (JTB) Act amendments, currently making their way through Parliament, could reshape the country's short-term rental industry, and not necessarily for the better. On paper, the bill promises to bring order to the booming Airbnb sector. But behind the curtain, it's raising a familiar question. Is this about fairness, or is this about protecting big hotel interests first? Where is this really coming from? The hotel industry in Jamaica has long had the ear of policymakers. For years, operators have complained that Airbnb hosts aren't playing by the same rules. No licensing, no taxes, no oversight. And now, with Airbnb reportedly capturing over 30% of Jamaica's overnight visitors, those complaints have turned into legislation. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett claims the bill will level the playing field, but critics argue it's more about preserving hotel dominance than protecting tourists, or the Jamaican people. After all, these aren't major corporations running Airbnbs. They're teachers, nurses, retirees, young professionals, ordinary Jamaicans trying to make ends meet. What does the bill actually say? The proposed changes to the Jamaica Tourist Board Act will require mandatory licensing and registration for all short-term rentals, including those with just one room. Fines for non-compliance, up to 1 million Jamaican dollars or 12 months in prison for 1 to 50 room operators. Even higher penalties for larger or repeat violations. The government says this is about safety, regulation, and accountability. But to many, it sounds like punishment for entrepreneurship, especially in a country where people are already struggling to survive. Here's where things get serious. 1. Airbnb is squeezing the rental market. Landlords are increasingly ditching long-term rentals to chase higher profits from tourists. Why rent your house for 70,000 Jamaican dollars per month when you can earn that in 5 nights on Airbnb? The result? Skyrocketing rents. Kingston, Ocho Rios, Montego Bay, Portmore. City centers are becoming unaffordable for the average Jamaican. Young people, single parents, and low-income families are being priced out of basic shelter. How can we pay $100,000 a month in rent when the average young Jamaican doesn't even earn half that? Frustrated Reddit user 2. First-time buyers are locked out. Investors are scooping up houses not to live in, but to rent to tourists. This drives up property prices and shrinks inventory for locals trying to own their first home. It's a vicious cycle. Can't afford to rent, can't afford to buy. Airbnb didn't create the housing crisis, but it's pouring gas on a fire that was already burning. The government says the bill is about accountability. But let's be honest. When was the last time the JTB cracked down this hard on hotels that underpay staff, underreport earnings, or breach environmental rules? Airbnb hosts, the very Jamaicans trying to rise above poverty, are facing million-dollar fines and jail time, while massive resorts keep expanding with tax breaks and foreign investment. This isn't regulation. This is selective regulation, and it's hurting the people who need help the most. Where's the public consultation? What's missing from this bill is empathy and transparency. Where are the town halls? Where are the small host protections? Why hasn't there been a clear rollout plan, grace period, or pathway for low-income Jamaicans to become compliant without losing their only income stream? Instead, the message is, comply or get out. Bottom line, is this really about tourism or control? This bill might help organize the short-term rental market, but if it's passed without safeguards for small property owners, it could worsen the housing crisis, push locales out of their own communities, silence a growing class of independent entrepreneurs. The question isn't whether Airbnb should be regulated. The question is who gets to participate in Jamaica's tourism economy and who gets pushed aside to make room for resorts. And if ordinary Jamaicans are being sacrificed to protect hotel profits, then this bill isn't progress, it's betrayal. Want the real story behind Jamaica's housing and tourism policies? Stay locked in to Jamaica Vox. Like, comment, and subscribe to be part of the conversation.